Division properties of exponents. Let's go over some more examples. We have two examples that we'll go over in this lesson. The first one is 2x squared times y over 3x times 9x y squared over y to the fourth power. Now the first step in this is going to be to multiply the fractions. So remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators. So 2x squared y times 9xy squared. And we also multiply the denominators. So 3x times y to the fourth. Now, let's take a look at the numerator. We have 2x squared y times 9xy squared. And we're going to use the product of powers rule, which says that when you have the variables or the base and an exponent, you simply add the exponents. And anytime you have a variable that doesn't have an exponent, you can imagine a little 1 there. And I'll just write those in. So you have a y to the 1 and an x to the 1. Okay, so we can multiply the numbers. So 2 times 9 is 18. And then add the exponents of the x terms. So we have a 2 and a 1, so it's going to be x to the third, right? Because 2 plus 1 is 3. And then add the exponents of the y terms. So 1 plus 2 is also going to be 3. So the numerator becomes 18 x cubed y cubed. And then in the denominator, well, we don't have any like terms, so we can just write all of them. So 3x y to the fourth. Okay, so after we use the product of powers, now we can use the quotient of powers, which means that the denominators, you're going to subtract the exponents. So we're going to rewrite this, and we can just do the division for the numbers here. 18 divided by 3 is going to be 6. So we have 6. And then we have x to the 3 minus 1. Remember, there's a 1 on the x in the denominator. So when we use the property, when we use the quotient of powers property, we just minus the exponents. So we do x to the third minus 1. And then we do y to the third minus 4, because 4 is in the denominator. And we'll get 6. X to the 3 minus 1 is 2. And then y to the 3 minus 4, y to the 3 minus 4 is going to be a negative 1. Okay, now we don't like to have a negative exponent. So when we write our answer, we're going to use the definition of negative exponents, which means that you write the reciprocal of the base and you change the exponent to a positive. So the reciprocal of the base is going to be 1 over y. And in this case, since we have other terms, those stay in the numerator, and then the y just drops to the denominator because it's going to be the reciprocal. And the negative 1 changes to a positive 1, and we don't have to write the positive 1 because it's just going to be y. And that's our answer for that first example. Now the second example, we have 2x over y squared, and that whole thing is raised to the fourth power. So our first step is to use the power of a quotient rule, which means the power actually gets applied to the numerator and the denominator. So let's rewrite it as 2x to the fourth over y squared to the fourth. So we've gotten rid of the big parentheses, and we've kind of distributed the 4 to both the numerator and the denominator. And now we can do that again with the numerator and the denominator, which is actually, we'll use the product of a product rule. And the 4 gets applied to the 2 and the x. So So we have 2 to the 4th times x to the 4th. And that goes over, well, y squared to the 4th. In this case, we're going to use the power of a power rule and just multiply the two exponents. So 2 times 4 is going to give us 8. Okay, so now we have 2 to the 4th times x to the 4th over y to the 8th. And to simplify that, we do 2 to the 4th, which is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. Did I say that right? 2 times 2 is 4, then 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 2 is 16. So 2 to the 4th is 16. So we have 16x to the 4th over y to the 8th. And that's going to be our answer. So we've simplified it, and we're done. So I hope these two examples helped a little bit further your understanding of division and exponents and the division properties of exponents.